Hey everybody, welcome back, welcome back. We are back for another Fridays at the 5th, and you can't see me because I muted my screen. I really need to get better about this. But I'm getting ahead of myself once again. My name is Orlando Morales. I am the Associate Artistic Director, Community Engagement at the Fifth Avenue Theater. I haven't even updated my script yet, but yeah, new title, same lovable personality, hopefully. Welcome back to Fridays at the 5th. Y'all know it's been a minute since we've been here, and I hope everybody's hanging in there, taking time to be kind to themselves and finding some opportunities to laugh and have fun and continue loving musicals, which is why we're here. Before we get started today, oh, Dan, that was supposed to be a secret. You're not supposed to know, but it's okay. Before we get started today, let's take a moment to remember that the Fifth Avenue Theater and the communities we serve are on the land and waterways of the Coast Salish people who have continuously inhabited our region since time immemorial. They are the original storytellers and theater makers of this place we call home. We acknowledge and honor the tribal nations across Washington state and the many indigenous peoples from across the country who also live and work in the Seattle area. As we step into this new period of the Fifth Avenue's history, we hope to honor their legacies and bring greater attention to their continuing fight for equity and recognition. So every week we are joined by a couple of amazing teen panelists, student panelists. Where are you? Tell us where you're at. Who are you? I know you're here somewhere. If you unmute your screens. Hey, there they are. Who do we got?
Hi, my name is Gifty, and I'm a freshman student. I go to KM, and so a few things that have been keeping me happy
Oh, hold on.
are
I'm going to time out you on that. We'll introduce Hirsch first. But question for you, Gifty.
oh,
Where is Kemeridian?
it's in Kent.
Oh, I was going to say
Sorry.
what is KM, but I gave it to you. So
Oh,
KM is Kemeridian. It's in Kent. There you go.
yeah.
Who else do we got here today?
Hi, I'm Hirsch. I'm a ninth grader at SAS up in Capitol
Amazing.
Hill.
Well, thank you both for being here. How are you
Thank you for.
doing? How are you doing these days? You doing okay?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay, awesome. Well, I know it's been there's been a lot going on in our world. Have you two been continuing to be like creative or still making art or doing theater? Like, what have you been up to?
I have been painting a lot of rocks. I've just been going out into my backyard and finding rocks and painting them, and it's been a lot of fun. Also, I've been lucky enough to have some auditions and projects during quarantine. So that's been really nice to keep me busy and keep my mind focused on some stuff.
Right, totally. What about you, Gifty? You been doing anything to stay creative these days?
Yes, well, I've been attempting to draw. I am really not that good at it, but you know, trying to get into some new hobbies and things that could be exciting in times like these. And also have some auditions coming up, and I'm just getting ready for those.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you're here because today's all about auditions. Y'all have any plans for Halloween tomorrow?
Stay home, watch scary movies,
That's
eat
what I want to
candy.
hear. That just public service announcement, y'all. Trick or treating, high risk activities. So love hearing that you're staying home. I also just found out that there are like filters on Instagram. Did y'all know about this? So we could like do our Halloween thing right now. Okay, I should put those away.
Wait, how do you do that?
Yeah, how do you?
I updated my thing and apparently it thinks that I deserve to have these things. So hopefully this doesn't become a thing during our Fifth Avenue Zoom meetings. But yeah, we could just stay home and dress up on Zoom. Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect. Well, in order to in another way for us to get to know our teen panelists is to ask them what has been bringing them joy during the past week. So I'm gonna go ahead and cue that up. I think the first person, Gifty, you already started telling us about bringing you joy this week. So why don't you kick us off?
All right. So, something that's been bringing me joy this week is Netflix. And something
Damn.
that I've been watching on Netflix, guys. Something that I've been watching on Netflix is a show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it's really adventurous and it's just so exciting. And I feel like I'm on the journey with them. They do a really good job. And yeah, I just
Cool.
love it.
I too have had a bit of a Netflix obsession over quarantine. I have been watching The Great British Bake Off and The Big Flower Fight, which is a flower sculpture competition show, which is
Oh, I
super
heard
fun.
about that. Okay. Yes. Great. So, definitely some amazing recommendations from our two panelists. I actually have a moment of joy, which I'm going to try to share. So this is a video that a friend of mine posted. Actually, y'all might know her. Her name is Catherine Van Meter. Shout out to Catherine, KVM. Posted this on her Facebook page, and it is equal parts joyful and disturbing to me. So you're welcome. So this is this is from a Busby Berkeley Technicolor musical called The Gang's All Here, starring Carmen Miranda, and this number is called The Lady in the Tutti Frutti Hat. And yeah, it's like a thing. Like people did things, y'all. Like that's I try to think about how you even rehearse that. Um like this next part kind of kills me. Yeah. That's just like skillful. So that's the lady with the tutti frutti hat, and hopefully that wasn't too traumatizing, but was bringing me joy this past week. I'm gonna toss it over to Hirsch.
Yeah, so I've just been going over to this like lo-fi hip hop radio streaming thing on YouTube. And I just like listen to the music while I do my homework, and it's gotten me like really calm and relaxed. Um, and sometimes I'll just lie down and listen to it, but it's super fun and I enjoy it a lot.
That's great. Hey, and what I liked about this Hirsch is it's like live, so somebody's like kind of DJing it, I think, or premiering it or something. But I love how like other people who are doing their homework are like commenting about it on the side. I thought that was kind of fun. It's like 42,000 people listening to this, or I like to think of them all doing their homework at the same time. Well, thanks for bringing that those suggestions in, y'all. As many of you know, Fridays at the Fifth is a program. You can see my background. Is a program dedicated to bringing together students who want to learn more about the craft of musical theater. And whether you're just curious or deeply passionate about musicals, we want to empower the next generations by giving y'all a chance to interact with the theater professionals who have dedicated their lives to this work. So that's what we're about to do, even though we can't all be in the same place at the same time. Y'all down for that? That gonna be okay? Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. Well, today's special guest, I am super excited to introduce here in a second. This is somebody who is not a stranger to the Fifth Avenue Theater, and is somebody who we've known and loved for quite a long time. I'm gonna go ahead and throw up. I think I can do this. Yes. So, our guest today is Diana Huey. Diana is a Helen Hayes and Gregory Award winning New York based actor and proud Seattle native. Camiac, y'all. She is best known for her portrayal of Kim in Miss Saigon and Ariel in the Fifth Avenue Theater and national tour productions of Disney's The Little Mermaid, where she made international headlines for facing racism over her casting as an Asian American actor. We about to ask about that. She's an active advocate for diversity and inclusion in the arts. Other Fifth Avenue Theater credits include Rock of Ages, pictured here, Jasper and Deadland, Rent, MAME, and the Adventure Musical Theater Touring Company, which is something that is very close to my heart.
Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around here you think, sure, she's got everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I've got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I want to be where the people are.
You better swim.
I wanna see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them? Oh, feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down the, what's that word again?
Road.
Street.
Oh.
Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world.
Oh my gosh, Diana Huey, where are you at? Welcome to Fridays at the 5th. I was trying not to get emotional watching that.
I'll help.
Oh, good. Okay. Just kill the moment for me. That's great.
You're welcome. You know, I haven't watched that clip in like so long because it kind of makes me cringe. And isn't it funny that you're like, oh, I'm choking up, and I'm like, oh gosh. But we all have such negative self-criticism, don't we? I'm like, I hate that video of myself. We were still in tech. So it was really, I was still learning how to swim and fly and sing all at the same time.
Yeah.
And she is not an easy task, my friends, I'll tell you what. And I definitely got easier with it throughout the year, but that was like the very, very beginning where I was like, I'm being hoisted up and I'm trying to look graceful. And I was like, it's pushing on my stomach, and I was like, I don't know how to do this. But it is nice to see that and remember, the growth.
Did you ever think that you would be like Ariel, like growing up? Like, did you?
No, I mean, I pretended all the time to be Ariel when I was a kid, but and when I auditioned for the show, I cracked a lot of jokes at first because I was like, they're not going to cast me as Ariel. Maybe if it was just at the 5th, that would maybe happen, but not when it's going to go off into this national tour. They're not going to want to send an Asian girl out on the road playing Ariel because that might upset people. And so I cut myself short as well. And I learned a lot from that because, I went into that audition being like, well, I'm just going to have fun. Singing part of your world for the director, and they're going to have to pretend to listen to me for 3 minutes, and that's going to be my 3 minutes of playing Ariel. And I learned a lot from that experience of self-doubt, which I guess I did at the very beginning of this interview whole thing, right? I did it again. But to learn to trust yourself and to learn to trust the people around you to be taking care of the thing that they're creating. And they don't want to look bad and they don't want to make you look bad. And I don't know, it's like if you go in and say, I would be great in this, I would have so much fun with this, and I think I could do a good job, then why can't you?
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, one thing that I've had on my mind, and I want to offer this out to everybody that's watching, and I know, Diana, you probably have techniques for yourself, but it's really common for a lot of creative people to go through that cycle of like being like, okay, we're doing this thing and it's great, and then you kind of come around and you're like, oh, what? Oh, you kind of get into that super hypercritical space. and which is really like I do that myself. And so I think some of the work that it's upon us to do if we know we're like that is to make sure that there's like some kindness for ourselves
Yeah.
in that
It's
cycle
so
and just
easy.
know, yeah,
It's
and just make sure that like, okay, I know I'm gonna come around this way, so I gotta find ways to be kind to myself and just know like this is what I want. So like really like if it's like you're gonna celebrate, go get some ice cream, but like really celebrate the work that you've done before you start getting hypercritical. And maybe you won't get hypercritical because of that. So and just know that we're all
yeah.
still working on that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It is something I work on every show, every performance, like pretty much every day. You know, that it's a fine balance of having self-confidence and self-love and self-worth, without it feeling like you're being full of yourself, or that you're, like, oh, I'm just the best, so I'm gonna, blah, blah, blah. And I think when I was younger, I was always really afraid of that, because when I saw people that were just super self-confident, which also usually stemmed from being, not actually feeling that way. And it just really put me off. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go the opposite way then and be self-deprecating, which is so much worse. So yeah, self-love is a patient thing that I am working on for my entire life. So no,
Keep
you're
doing
not
the
alone,
work.
guys. If you feel
You're not
self-critical,
alone.
gotta do that work. Gotta do that work.
Any questions from the panelists?
Yeah, actually, I have one question for you, Diana.
Yeah.
So, what's like the hardest role that you had to play?
Um, Physically, The Little Mermaid was definitely very, very physically demanding with the flying, and it's the only show I've ever done, 300 performances of, where we took it out on the road. So we were on tour, so you would be setting up in a brand new theater with a new crew and a new dresser and new everything, new setup backstage, on a Tuesday, and then you have opening night in this new city on Tuesday, and then you do 8 shows, and then on Monday you travel, and then on Tuesday you set up in a new city. So it was, no days off. So
Mhm.
you're just going. So it was really a lot of work physically to stay healthy, to stay physically healthy and vocally healthy and um, mentally healthy. There are a lot of things, but it was also the best year of my life, but very, very challenging.
Cool.
Thank you. All right.
Bush,
Yeah.
did you have a question?
Um, sure, yeah. What is number one? Wait, hold on. Okay. Do you have a favorite show you've been in and why?
Ooh, I one thing that just quickly popped into my head. I mean, The Little Mermaid was very, very special for me, and that's definitely a lifetime favorite show and experience. But also going back to the fifth, last year, was that last year? What's time anymore? But Rock of Ages was so much fun. The cast, we had such a great time with that show. It was just a bunch of silliness, and it was during one of the many Seattle snowpocalypses, snowmageddon, whichever you prefer. But we lost, like half of the audience, because of all of the snowstorms that year. So
They were just at
it made
home.
it.
They were just at home. Yeah.
They were at home. Yeah, they were all at home. We're like, okay, well,
Oh, wow.
please also don't come to the theater if you don't feel safe, because we don't want you to, put yourself in danger to come to the show. But also, we had a sold out show, and now there's like no one here. But it kind of it's those things that make you band together as a company, and we just had so much fun. So that Rock of Ages is a very special one in my heart too. It's all the fifth shows, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Yes. Um, well, okay. Well, thank you so much for again for being here, Diana. All right, today is fundamentally about auditioning during times of COVID. This year is posing new challenges for actors of all ages and stages, while shows are finding unique and innovative ways to go on. I know a lot of schools are also doing like auditions this way too. and actors are being asked to translate their craft to the camera. So, Diana, you're here to drop some knowledge that you've gained through experience these past months, and you and I kind of met earlier to kind of distill like exactly um, what some of the points are. So I'm just gonna go ahead and like put these up so people know what direction we're going in. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is I could just have you. I'll toss it to you.
The
There
setup.
you go.
I love the PowerPoint though.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh
if you were to, or Orlando, are you able to turn on my other fancy camera?
oh yes, I am. If I can
Because
find.
we're going to talk
Sorry.
about the setup,
Hold on. I think I need to get
which
through
I can
this.
show you.
I need to get through the PowerPoint first, and then I can turn it on.
Okay, you know what? This is
Okay.
perfect because what I will say is if you were to look at my current Zoom square,
Wait.
this
Let me do
is
this.
a pretty typical setup for a if you were doing a self tape. Oh,
There you
I
go.
see my phone lighting up. Oh, hang on
Boom.
1 second. Is this working? Okay, continue. There we go. Um, so it is that working? I can't actually see anything.
I,
Oh
I,
yeah, there it is.
yeah,
Okay.
there it is. It's good.
Sort of. Hi guys. So the illusion of my beautiful blue wall is actually a beautiful tarp, a backdrop with a metal frames that I got on Amazon. Comes with like some clips and you can set it up and expand it and put it up anywhere. So I'm just in my living room, like in front of a record player and all of this noise and a piano that now in my Zoom audition square, I have a nice neutral background because when you're doing on an online audition, it's super complicated and messy behind me, right? So that's not fun, and you don't want to distract them from your performance because they're looking at all of your cool stuff in your bedroom or your kitchen or your apartment. So having a nice neutral background, if you, for the longest time at the beginning, I didn't have this whole setup and I would just find the cleanest wall that I could in my apartment in New York. So I would kind of move things out of my kitchen, use my kitchen wall, or I would just stand in front of doors, closet doors, and my bedroom door in my bedroom, because they know that you're at home. We all know what's going on. So if there are things in your background, that's okay. We understand that that'll happen, but you want to try to make sure that you are the focus of your video and not all of your cool stuff or like people walking by on the street if you're in front of a window, which would also be terrible lighting if you are being backlit. You want to be front lit. So I have this ring light. Also, I just bought it on Amazon. It's so easy to find these things, and you want to set it up so that you can make sure that you're well lit. You want to be nicely framed, and you want to try to keep it so that your head isn't being cut off. You don't want to be like up here, and about mid torso, and you want to try to stay as center as you can in your frame. So this would be how I usually would set up for a video audition. So this is my video audition setup. It's all about some good lighting and some nice quiet backgrounds, and that's going to help you a lot.
Yeah. And you could
Yeah.
probably, so if you're you're on like an allowance here, that ring light could probably just be borrowing the lamp from
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um
Before I got the ring light, I would balance lamps and lights and just like grab every lamp in my apartment and direct them at myself. For like Zoom things like this, I have a little book light that's like, clamped onto the side of the bed that you use for reading, and I would clamp it onto my computer and use it as like a little mini ring light for being in front of my computer for Zoom things. There are lots of ways that you can do it. And this specific ring light, a lot of them have a mount also so you can put your phone on it. So I could clip my phone onto this and it would be perfectly framed in my ring light and perfectly framed on me. And then that way you can hold your phone, because everything I record to it's all on my cell phone. It's on my iPhone, and that's how I submit auditions and record them on there. So it's very, very easy to sort of DIY it yourselves.
yeah. Another thing that I was just going to ask, I think just stepping back a little bit, is this so were you doing a lot of video auditions before shutdown, or is this something that you just kind of had to to start really putting together in
Yeah,
the past few months?
I did do quite a few video auditions because I travel so much with shows, whether it's being on tour or being out of New York and working in Seattle, or being out of New York and working in DC or Atlanta or wherever I was. And so if I couldn't physically be at the audition, then they would have me send in a self tape. And my self tape game has definitely gone up because of COVID. Now the expectation just feels a little bit more, a little higher because this is how we are doing it. So I was like, okay, now let me then invest in this system a little bit more. So I got the ring light and I got a tripod and everything that held my phone better. But yeah, I mean, for the longest time, years and years and years, I would, just sort of balance my phone on a shelf and, turn on the light in whatever room I was in and just sort of film it. They understand it doesn't need to look like a Hollywood setup, they all know that you're at home. So just try to make yourself look as good as possible, but don't stress. And if it is a thing where you can't financially get all of this equipment, like that's okay too. You could even like probably tape a sheet on your wall or something, or I've, done this setup and, stacked it over my TV stand and like stacked books on top to, hold up the sheet. There are lots of ways that you can be creative and find it very affordable to do with things that you have around your house.
Totally. Cool. Should we move on?
Let's move on.
Oh, okay. Audition sides. I'll get out of the
Audition
way.
sides and preps. So there is this really interesting thing where usually if you're auditioning for a TV show or a movie, something that's on camera, the expectation is to be memorized or as memorized as possible. Yeah, you ideally, like if you could be off book for any audition, isn't that just easier if you're not staring at the pages and you like know what you're saying? So that's always the best option. But sometimes you don't have time or you get the audition and it's due that day. That happens a lot with TV and film. So what I like to do is this is also what I do in person auditions as well. But I personally will take the sides that they send and retype them out on my computer. And it helps me like really break down every word that's being said in this audition side, not just what I'm saying, but what everyone else is saying. So I really understand it. And then I format it so it's on like two sides on one page. And then I fold it and I make it nice and small so that when I'm in an audition room or reading on camera, my sides are now much smaller. And you want to try to get rid of as much white space as you can. So you just have your text that you're looking at. So you're not looking at a giant sheet of paper, which especially on camera, if I was reading the sides that they sent me and it was this big, like, bye, nice audition. You can't see me. So I really like to make my sides smaller so that when if I am stuck reading a lot more than I would want to be, it's right here and it's not cutting off any of my face. And it's helpful in the room as well. And also, now that we're all filming our auditions, this is from an audition that I did where I typed it out and I made it a little bit bigger and bolder and I taped it next to my phone that I was filming on. And I wasn't sitting there reading the sides, but I would use it instead of like glancing down. My eye gaze was already up anyway, so I could sort of use that as a reminder to check in where I am on, if I'm like, what's the next line? What do I say? Because they can't see you, so they don't know. Definitely don't want to do that and like obviously look like you're scanning all of your lines because then it looks a little more, like you're cheating. Because like if you need to hold your sides, hold your sides. It's okay. You're not, unless the audition specifically requires you to be memorized, you are allowed to hold your pages. And it feels really awkward to hold your sides in an audition online because you just feel like, oh, well, I should have this perfect and, there's no room for error because this is recorded and I'm sending this in. But it's still an audition, just like in real life, things happen and they don't expect you to be perfect. It's an audition. So hold your sides if you need to hold your sides, or if it's something where you can sort of tape it up to reference if you feel pretty good and you can reference it. That's a helpful way to sort of get it so you're not holding it in your hands. But I am an advocate for making your sides smaller because this just has Also, make sure you double check it, because I've definitely gotten into an audition as well with my little weird typing out myself, and I typoed and I skipped a line, so we got off. But you know, and then that happened. We had a nice laugh about it. Don't think I booked that job though, so
Oh,
grain of salt. Basically, try to be as familiar as you can be, though. That's like the best advice. If you don't have to be reading sides, that'll make your life so much easier.
word. I just want to pause too and just encourage, like, if anybody out there wants to use the Q&A, if you have questions that come up, don't hesitate. You can drop
Please.
in the
Yeah.
Q&A and also in the chat. Connie will help elevate those if they happen. Cool. How are we doing? Should we move on to the next thing?
Let's do it.
This is the fun one. Ready? All right. There it is. Slating.
Slating. Okay, I'm going to be asking my friends Hirsch and Gifty for a little help here, but let's first cover what is slating. The slate often for your video audition will be at the beginning. Sometimes they'll specify and say, please put your slate at the end, but usually your slate is at the beginning. Your slate is like when you're walking into the Fifth Avenue DAT5 audition room and you're like, oh, okay, and you go in the door and there's Bill Barry and Orlando sitting there looking at you and you're like, oh goodness, here we go, because he's so mean. But when you go in and they're like, hey, how are you, how's it, how are you doing today, that sort of banter that you'll kind of have just chatting, being humans, two humans in a room together having a conversation, sharing space and life together in that moment. So in your slate, often what it is they'll say, please slate your name, your height, what you're singing. If like you have an agent, I don't know, they'll like tell you what to say. So then your slate could be as simple as like, hi, my name is Diana Huey. I'm 5 feet tall. I live in New York City. And I'm going to be singing Mary Had a Little Lamb. Yep, that's my go-to audition song. Don't take it from me, people. And that's so boring, right? If you're just like awkwardly roboting out what they asked you to say. Your slate is that time when you walk into a room and you see the people at the audition table. So it's a great chance for you to have like 10 to 30 seconds to show your personality, show them who you are, because really at the end of the day, they want to cast the best person for the job, but they also want to cast someone who they want to work with. They're going to see you every day in rehearsal. And so if you're like really boring or really, timid, like, no, show them that you are confident, show them that you're fun, show them that you are this character or whoever, show them that you're you. So I've done things for like an audition for a TV show where I was auditioning for someone, it was like a horror show and it's all found footage, when they like, it's all like self-recorded. So for my slate, I started really, gonna come in here, guys, but I started really close to my camera like this, and this is how I started my slate, and I was like adjusting it, sort of shaking my camera a little bit, and I was like, is this on? Okay, great. Hi, my name is Diana Huey, and I'm blah, 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 and I slated, but it shows just a little bit of something, and also something to catch their eye, because they're going through maybe hundreds of video auditions, so do something that makes you stand out in a fun, cool way. Like, don't go too crazy, but just a little sparkle. So let's pretend that you guys are auditioning for a zombie Halloween musical for the Fifth Avenue Theater. And we can come up, we don't even have to say a song. And your slate for your video would be your name, I don't know how tall you are, and what school you go to. And it's a zombie musical. So if you can you think of like a fun way that you could slate that would make it a little interesting, a little sparkle, zombie sparkle. Do you want to start, Grifty? Since we've been going out like alphabetically today.
Sure, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, you got this.
Kind of like I'm gonna walk in.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Oh yes, she gonna do all that. All right, I'm into this.
Hello. Hi, my name is Gifty, and I am 5'4", and today I'm gonna be singing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow."
Nice. Nice, nice, nice. I almost wonder though, is there a way that you can, it's a zombie musical, is there a way that you could maybe, since you wanted to do the fun idea of walking into your slate, could you maybe walk in like as a zombie a little bit more and then and you probably don't want to do your whole slate with a weird zombie voice because they want to
Right.
understand you. But maybe show me a little zombie.
Okay.
Just like a
I
little
can give you
zombie
a
in
little
your
zombie action.
yes.
Whew, gotta get adjusted there. Hi, my name is Gifty, and I am 5'4", 5 feet 4 tall. I am from Seattle, Washington, and today I'm gonna be singing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow."
Nice.
All right.
So you just sort of add something fun to it, you know?
Mhm.
I really like. I thought the beginning of when you say your name, Gifty, and you kind of like give the hi. That just felt really authentic to me. I think that's something that really comes across. So yeah, it's
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah,
Did we get one from
absolutely.
Hirsch too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Hirsch Powers. I live in Seattle, Washington. I am 4'11", and I will be singing "If Only You Would Listen" from School of Rock.
Great. Yes. So fun. See just these little things that you can do. And sometimes it's like if you're auditioning for, the Sound of Music and there is, zombies is a very obvious thing that you can like I'm going to throw in a little zombie action into my slate, but it's just something even if it is just like being like, "Hi, I'm Gifty," and it's just so authentically sweet and you're like, "This is a nice girl. She's going to like get along with people in rehearsal," whatever it is, but you want to take time to make your slate not just like a boring thing because the rest of the audition is going to be pretty similar to what everyone else is doing. So if it's like sort of your time to be yourself. So show that. Yeah.
Do you?
Good job, you guys. Thank you.
Yes, give it up.
Thanks for playing with me.
I got a quick question about that. So when you
Oh.
say take the time, you're talking about rehearsing. You rehearse your slate, right?
I mean, yes and no. I guess I don't really rehearse it, but I will give it a little thought if there's something. And sometimes I even just like as simple as this, like this will be my slate. Hello, I'm Diana. If it's like a musical extraordinaire sort of show, just something so that it's not just da 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 da. Just something a little fun. And so also another thing is a lot of TV and film too will ask for a full body slate. And the further back my phone or computer, my camera goes, you're going to start to see the record player and the walls. And you're going to, my illusion has now been ruined of this clean wall behind me. But what I've started doing is if they require a full body slate, and sometimes also you just don't have enough space. I mean, I live in an apartment in New York. There just isn't really enough space for that. I will do my phone, the tall way, like portrait mode, vertically, which, you always want to shoot landscape. But for the slate, I will flip it so that it's my full body. You can see me head to toe. And then, it'll have like the black sides or whatever, like how this screen looks where, and it'll be like that, but it'll only be for the slate so that they can see my full body. And then I'll zoom it in when I'm editing, which we will get to. I'll zoom it in as closely as I can so that it is like just the top of my head to my feet and not a bunch of extra space because then it's like the smaller I am, they can't really see. But I've started doing that for if they ask for a full body slate because it's just I don't have enough room in my apartment to do that and not show all of my apartment. And then I'll flip it back, I'll hit stop and then I'll flip it back to landscape mode for the audition.
Cool. All right. Should we go to music?
Music. Yes. So music. Weird, right? We aren't walking into DAT 5 and there isn't like Orlando or RJ or someone on the piano playing for you for your audition, and you're like, how do I do this? A lot of times theaters will be sending you maybe a track that you can sing to, and what I will do is just play it on like a little Bluetooth speaker, and I'll test the sound and make sure that it is not overpower. You don't want it to overpower your voice, but you want to make sure that you can hear it so you don't get off beat or, you know, out of tune. And I'll just like kind of set it off to the side, press play on the music, and sing. And I just use a speaker. Especially right now, it's not ideal to have people come over to like play the piano for you live. And I think everyone is very well aware that this is how we're going to be doing musical auditions, is by using an external speaker. But you don't want to use the speaker like on your phone while you're filming from your phone. I don't even know if you can do that at the same time, but that'll just like totally distort your voice. You want to make sure that you are the center sound, that they can hear you clearly, not the track doesn't really matter. They know what the track is. And also, I have found many a times that for an audition song online, if I'm virtually auditioning and I need to find a song, I will just YouTube and find a karaoke track, and that's usually fine. I try to steer away from karaoke tracks that have background vocal singers, because that's very distracting to suddenly have someone randomly like, oh, and you're like, no, wait, shh, this is my audition. So, or I'll even try to find if I can find a good piano track of someone playing, let's say I'm singing Defying Gravity, and I'm like, okay, Defying Gravity on piano. And sometimes you'll find someone that just like plays exactly like they would in the room if you handed them the sheet music. So, you can do a little digging, but you can find your tracks on YouTube if the theater doesn't send it to you, or if you're like auditioning for something and picking your own song. But I think ideally you don't want to sing a cappella unless they tell you that you can. So you can usually figure out a way to do it online, or ask a friend who plays piano to record it and send it. That's also very helpful.
Cool. We've got a couple questions that have come in here. So I'll take these and then throw it to Hirsch and Gifty if you have questions as well. So Molly has a really great question, which is, do you limit yourself to a number of takes as to not tire yourself out or become too critical? This question resonates with me.
This is the realest question, Molly. Here is my teacher answer. Yes, try to limit your takes. Here is my actual in practice answer is, sometimes I can do it in one take, sometimes, and I feel good about it. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm only doing this 3 times. But my sweet poor boyfriend, who is often always my reader for an audition, my famous words are last time, I swear, this is last time. And then, I'm like, can we just do it one more time? And then I go back in my phone to pick my audition, and I'm like, I have 20 takes of this and I have no idea which is which anymore. They all look the same to me. And usually they're all just like very slightly different. So it's like, maybe really try to like limit the amount of takes, because it'll save yourself a lot of time and a lot of like mental energy when you go back. I will also, if I do a take that I feel like, I think that was a good take, I have an iPhone, so I'll just like click the heart and favorite it so that I know like that was one that I feel good about, and like immediately delete the ones that I messed up, or I'm like, there's this, terrible. So that when you go back and you look at your camera roll, you don't have like 45 videos that all look exactly the same to you. I will also make a new album on my phone, so that I'll, if like the audition is for Sound of Music, again, I don't know why that's in my head so much right now, but the Sound of Music. And so I'll make that folder so that I put all of my, possible takes in that folder, again, just to help, so you're not scrolling through hundreds of videos and going crazy. But yeah, try to limit. And, if you're unless you're very, very sure, like this is exactly how I want to do it, maybe try something slightly different, like actually different in other takes, so that you have something to pick from, not just like, in this take I said it like this, and in this take I said it like this. It's all going to be the same. So make big choices and then pick which one is your favorite. But I do try to limit it as much as I can, because you will go crazy. It's painful.
That's real.
Self-taping is really painful.
And if you know that you're gonna like maybe do go down the take rabbit hole, maybe you need to set like a time, like you like I'll do this for like 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna
Yeah,
take a break,
yeah.
and then I'm gonna come back to it because like it's
And that's a
also
big
yeah.
thing. Yeah, take a break. If you're like, I don't know why I can't do this. This is just not working. Then like take a break, take a breath, go drink some water and like do something else for 5-10 minutes and like reset your brain because it is very self-tapes are not a fun thing. They're hard and it's that self-critical thing comes up, again, and it's very hard not to be self-critical and to get frustrated because you want to present your best work. So, but also,
Yeah.
yeah, just be patient with yourself because it's hard. It's
I
hard for
know
everybody.
I know Hirsch has actually done some auditioning this way too. Did you have any thoughts on this?
I spend like an hour or two, like, just like going over and over again, and I keep on doing it, and it's something I definitely should keep track of, but I'm just like, I'll just do it again, just one more time, like you. And I just keep going and going, and I'm like, uh-oh. So that's something I personally struggle with.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's everybody. It's so hard. It's so hard. And like with anything, the more you practice, the more confident you feel. And you're like, oh well, now I feel like I understand this scene differently, or I'm now like more memorized than I was when I started 2 hours ago. But oh man, like then all of your natural impulses and those things are gone, and you're gonna be like fried in the face. Your eyes aren't going to be alive anymore. You're because you feel so exhausted and beat down from it. So really, I think it is like do your homework as much as you can beforehand so that you know what you're saying. So that's like set and ready. Your intentions are clear. What you want is clear. And then, set a time limit or set, 3 to 5 takes. And then I have also found it's painful, but it's helpful to go and like watch what you've done. Um, so that you can see like because sometimes it just doesn't translate the way you thought it would. And you're like, oh, I thought that was very clear, not clear, great, maybe I should make a different choice or fix that. So you can kind of evaluate what you're doing and pick and choose what you like or don't like. But oh man, Hirsch, you don't want to do it for 2 hours, bud. That's so painful. Oh, I mean, I've been there, but yeah, that's you and me. We're gonna work on not doing the 2 hour takes because it's not helpful. And then did you end up picking something from like the beginning of, you know, it's like, oh, I took my third take.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
Yeah, that
That's a
happens a
good
lot too.
yeah, that's a good thing to know is that you do have there is a limit to like how fresh you can be. So
Yeah,
if
it's
you're
not
going
fresh
there,
anymore 2 hours
yeah.
later.
Gifty, I think you have a question as well.
About
Oh,
like
there you go for it.
when we when you're recording the songs, like let's say you have to sing two songs, would you sing the first song, then pause, and then do the title, or would you like separate the clips, or how would that go?
I will usually separate the clips. I'll do them in two takes, two different video takes. Yeah. Um, that way, they're just, yeah, it's simpler on you and easier also if you're like, oh, you know what, I sang it better the first time, but this one I did, better the second
Mm,
time or whatever. So yeah, that way you can like pick your favorites and just sort of a little less stress than trying to continuously make one perfect take of multiple songs. Yeah.
cool. Totally. And Faith actually has an interesting question too in the Q&A. So they ask if we have any tips for if they do get asked to do an audition or to audition a cappella. Sorry, I did not. She wrote it a lot better than that. So if you get asked to do an audition a cappella, do you have tips? And that's kind of interesting to me. Have you actually been asked to do
I
an a cappella audition?
I think the only time that something like that has come up is if in the moment someone's like, "Hey, can you just give me a little bit of this, like something different than what you have?" And like if I don't have my audition book or there's nothing, or they're just
Hmm.
like to save the time, they don't want to flip. They're like, "Just give me 10 seconds of you singing this way." But uh, I haven't really had a lot of times where they'll ask you to do it a cappella, but I would guess that if this were to happen, my thought process would be to like confidently, like, know your voice as much as you can so that you know where you want to start your song, so you don't start it like way too high or way too low. Be comfortable with like the key that you're blindly picking, I guess.
Mm,
And then just be confident. Even if you don't feel confident, fake it. Like, just be confident with what you're doing. So even if it is like, oh, I'm sort of now, I think I might be changing keys a little bit. Like, don't, just keep going and be like, this is my acapella version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It started in this key and it ended in this key.
yeah.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Orlando?
Well, yeah, from a music director's standpoint, I'd be interested in why they want an a cappella audition.
Right.
If it's because they don't want people to worry about having accompaniment, that makes sense to me because I know, a lot of teachers are like, oh, we don't want to stress people out, so just go ahead and submit an a cappella audition. In that case, I'd say then you're good. I would just maybe listen to a song in a key that's comfortable for you and sing along with that. And then you'll kind of, if you do that before you do your take, then that key will hopefully be in your mind if your mind works
Yeah,
that
and I
way.
guess if it were a video audition, then you could go ahead and plunk out your notes
Hmm.
beforehand, pick your key and know where you want to sing the song and play it, dong, okay, and then hit record and then start there.
Right, right.
So I guess if we're talking virtual, which is, for the current times of auditioning, then I would say the best thing you could do is to set yourself up for success, right? And
Hmm.
practice it beforehand and know where you want to start your song so that
Yeah.
you get
Oh,
there.
it sounds like okay. So I'm looking at Faith's kind of communicating with us here in the chat.
Oh,
That so it looks like it's a jukebox musical. So these might be callbacks, and there's no tracks for the
oh,
callbacks, and that's interesting to me. So in that sense, like I think there's a little bit less pressure there. Like
yeah.
you. Hopefully they'll send you something that has your part on it, so you can learn it, and then.
Just the actual audition. If they want it to be, I mean, this would be a time too where you can pull that YouTube card and find a song. Find, if it's a jukebox musical, then I'm sure that there are karaoke tracks or people playing the piano or guitar or whatever of those songs online that you could use. But if they want it to be a cappella, then I would say figure out how you best sing the song, how it sounds the best in your voice, find that key, feel confident, practice it, and then record that how you want to sing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go like I know there might be some kind of a technical like anxiety about the technical aspects of this situation behind this question, but what I would say is like I think the focus you're gonna do this acapella audition and like any other audition though you should put the focus on what is the action of the song, what is the
Totally.
storytelling of it, because like sometimes we do rely on the piano to tell like the story a little bit,
Mhm.
and you're not going to have that piano, so you got to spend some time to think about like, okay, so how is that going to come across, how can I give that sense of storytelling even without the piano, like I just do it with
Ding ding. I
myself.
think that is the answer. That's the answer is like telling the story, singing the song, knowing what you're saying, showing your intentions. It's not all, and I would say that it's better to have a vocal audition. And this is so hard as an actor to even like really process, but it's true. I would assume that you would rather pick someone that's like really clear and has really good storytelling and is a great actor through their song, even if they crack, if their voice cracks or isn't, it's not 100% vocally perfect, versus someone that like sings it beautifully but is like giving you nothing. They're just singing the song, right?
Yeah.
Like you would rather have someone that's actively telling their story, right? I mean, I guess I'm on this side of the table and you're on that side of the table, but I would think that, yeah, finding the acting beats and the storytelling within that song, whether it's a cappella or not, but that's like the most important thing.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking a lot about logistics today, like just to give you that, but really, like the logistics are to support what we're talking about here. So let's really quick. We're running a short on time a little bit, but I think you might have a couple things to say,
Oh,
Diana, about editing really quick here.
editing. Um, So easy, you guys. If you're filming on your phone, I have an iPhone, and I just sort of quickly Googled something that's comparable to iMovie. But for me, I use iMovie on my iPhone to edit my videos together. And one thing that I saw was for Android users, it was called Video Show, and that was rated to be very comparable to iMovie for Android users. But you'll just pick your, favorite videos, and this is again where it's helpful to heart favorite your favorite ones, and then again putting them in their own album for this specific audition so that you can remove them, so that when you go back and you start editing your videos together in iMovie or Video Show, you go to the folder of your takes so you don't accidentally pick one that you didn't like. And I usually start with a blank, like black screen on the first step, and it'll say my name, what I'm auditioning for, my agent information, and then it'll be on there for like 3 to 5 seconds, and then it'll just pan over to my slate, and then there's that, and then I'll just I'll be like, okay, here's scene 1, and I'll just click and drag that video into iMovie. Great. And you want to trim it at the beginning and the end so that it's not you going, okay. acting, right? So start, give yourself a beat before you start when you're filming to record your video and get settled and then speak, so that it's not like you picking something up and you immediately start speaking. Give yourself some room at the beginning and the end of your videos so that you can edit it down so it's very clean, so it's at the start and the beginning of your takes. And then I just drag in my, here's side 1, here's side 2, and then here's my song. And then again, with just a black screen at the end, I'll just literally cover up my camera and take a picture of my hand, and it's just black. Every time they get a new picture of my palm, and it just sort of seamlessly edits together, and then you upload that and send it in. But it's really, really simple. And you can just do it all on your phone. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think the key here is that, Diana, you're not going out of your way to have extra bells and whistles here. I think it's simplicity is the answer. And Hunter has a couple questions. One is about, do you recommend adding transitions, or, and so what is your thought on that?
I don't do anything too fancy with the transitions, and it sometimes depends. Sometimes I'll look at my video, and sometimes it does work I often will either just do a quick, it cuts with no transition, or I'll do the one that sort of fades. So it's my scene ends, and then you watch me again, because I gave myself a few seconds of leeway room. So I don't just go and scene. Oh my gosh, that was, right. It's you hold, hold and wait. And then, so it sort of fades out. And if it's a sad thing or whatever, then you can see me still living in that moment, and then it'll fade into the next scene, which again has that window room beforehand for it to start. Or you can just do a quick, the one with no one line or whatever, and it just goes to the next one immediately. Right. But I think you want to, unless it's very specific to your personality or maybe the show or something, avoid the really fancy transitions. That is a little much. I think simple is best. Yeah.
That's great. There's a really quick question here about low res versus high res. I think because they're relying on your face, it's got to be high res.
Yeah, I think the highest resolution you can get, and I mean all of our phones right now, for the most part, have great cameras. My cell phone probably has a better resolution than my computer. But another thing, maybe you can see it in the other one, but my computer right now, I have it plugged into an Ethernet cable, so that I have a very clear connection. But on your, so if you're filming on your computer, or if you're doing something live, if it's a live callback, you just want to try to have as stable of a connection as possible, because like Orlando said, you want it to be as clear as possible. And I often will film with my front facing camera so that I can make sure that I'm not going off screen or whatever. But the back of your phone does have a higher resolution camera usually. Someone was telling me that there's also a program where you can plug your phone into your computer and use your computer as a monitor. There are things like that that you can do so that you can use the back of your camera but still have a monitor to make sure that you're not doing something weird, or doing your whole audition like this or something, and you're like, oh no, oh, this was a great take, but I'm really out of focus. So yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay, so that's good. Keep it simple, y'all. Keep it simple.
Keep it
Um,
simple, keep it neat and clean.
yeah. Hirsch has got a really great question here. Let's ask that one. I think that's a good one, especially because, this is kind of the time of new works too, right? A lot of people are taking this opportunity to work on new works. So, Hirsch, ask your question.
Yeah, so I was wondering, how do you take the slides, scenes you're given, or a song if you are, and build a character off of it, especially if it is a new work and there's not a lot of material around it already?
That's a great question. And that is like, yeah, it's hard. It's so easy to like go and, copy. But this is like one of my favorite things about new works is it's your chance to really make it your own, because there isn't anything that they're comparing it to, right? So what about you, Hirsch, would make this character awesome? And I think if they give you, especially for new works, if they give you the whole script to read, it's so helpful to read it so that you know what's going on. And I know that sometimes there just isn't time to read, a whole musical or a whole play, but if you can, I highly recommend it so that you know what's going on. But yeah, I think the big thing would be to just make clear, strong choices and just, decide for yourself. I don't know if this is what Bobby really would do in the real show, but I don't know what Bobby would do in the show. So I am deciding that Bobby is this and blah, 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 and pick those things and make your very clear, they'll usually give you the blurb on like what the characters generally like. So create that world for yourself so that it's very clear what you as Bobby are thinking and wanting and doing and saying.
And I
Yeah, be
think
an actor. Make it up, decide, like make it your own.
we kind of come across this in Rising Star Project when we're doing the new musical project or year of that, which we're doing this year, by the way. And like a lot of times we're also looking for an actor to start to define that character, which is what you're saying, Diana. But I think in different words, it's like you have an opportunity to kind of be like, this is what this character is like, and I'm going to show you how dynamic this character can be. And that's like an opportunity for you as well.
It makes me think of Don Darrell Rivera when he originated the role of Iago in Aladdin at the Fifth originally, and then did it and was still doing it on Broadway. He's been doing that show now for
Years.
Years. And he is such a specific and like hysterical, funny, physical actor. And when I saw a preview of Aladdin before it went to Broadway, but I watched him do this role and I was like, Don just went and, just made this role his own. And I was like, I don't know how anyone is going to ever try, like they're going to have to pry it out of his hands, because no one is going to be able to do exactly all these, like these things that he's doing are so specific to him and so like magical to like the things that his strengths. He brought so many of those things to the role. And I was like, good job. You're going to Broadway because you just you made this your own. And cut to, moved to New York and has been on Broadway for years and years and years and years playing Iago. And it's like anyone that does it, it's always like they're emulating Dawn. It's amazing. So do that.
Well, this is such a huge topic, auditioning. And like we could be going on and have like a full week's like seminar on how to do this. But hopefully this gave y'all some tools to get started, or hopefully maybe this brought up some new questions that you have. And so I would encourage you to reach out to your drama teacher at your school, if you do have one, or even like just email us, educationprograms at the Fifth Avenue Theater. We get auditioning questions all the time. And Rising Star Project auditions are coming up too. So this is just a great time to get some questions if you have them answered about any of this. And Diana, thank you again so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you
Love
guys.
hearing about your experiences, and we wish you luck in the coming year. And thank you so much to our student panelists, Gifty and
Yes.
Hirsch.
Stepping
Yes,
in and like going in and doing assignments live on
definitely.
Zoom.
Um, I'm
Keeping it
gonna
up.
I'm gonna do a quick thing for our Devo team, but just heads up to everybody. I'm gonna ask you for shout outs in a second here. So think of somebody you want to shout out. So I'm gonna thank also everybody who's tuned in and joined us today live, and also who's tuning in afterwards. That's all okay too. We know y'all are out there. And if you're into Fridays at the Fifth, please consider supporting it. We are committed to offering Fridays at the Fifth live for free, but there is a cost associated on our end. So you could hop on our website, or you can also text 5th to 56512. That's 5th to 56512, and you'll receive a link to donate. So, Hirsch, anybody that you want to shout out to before we log off here?
I would like to shout out Orlando for making this happening. For making
What?
this happen.
Yeah.
Diana Huey for being here, my fellow panelist. My computer for not glitching out on me like it does a lot of the time. And my water bottle. Stay hydrated.
Great.
Stay hydrated.
I know your mom's watching, but you don't
And
have
my
to shout her
mom.
out. That's fine. All right. Gifty, any shout outs
Hey,
for the group?
moms.
Shout out to Dr. Thompson, my choir teacher, for getting me here. I wouldn't be here without him. And shout out to all of you for being here. You're amazing. It's really nice to meet you. And I got some tricks up my sleeve now.
Yeah.
All right. Diana, anybody you want to shout out?
I'll shout out Connie who helped organize this all as well, and she's hiding in the non-video participants square, but she's been so lovely to me for years and years and years and years and years. Everyone everyone at the Fifth, I really miss you guys. It's
And
it's home. It's my home base.
you were a high school awards participant, right?
I was
Yeah, back in the day.
many a moons ago. Yeah. I mean, I definitely did. I did like the High School Musical Theater Awards, and then I did my first show at the Fifth was as an acting intern, and I was just like in college, and I was just in the ensemble as an intern, and then did the AMT touring shows. Like I did the climb of steps, and I feel very very connected and proud of my roots at the Fifth Avenue
So there
Theater.
you go, y'all. Diana was once where you all were, so keep that in mind. And
Yeah.
with that, I'll just give one last thank you to everybody for kicking it with us today. I cannot talk. It's Friday. One day we're gonna be back in the theater, y'all. We're gonna be back. But until then, keep washing those hands. Stay safe. Remember that trick or treating is a high risk activity, and we discourage it. It'll be
Yeah.
next year. We'll have it next year. Don't worry. Keep making art. Keep having real conversations about what's happening in our world, in our country, and in our communities. And just like keep on keeping on. And we will see you at the next Fridays at the Fifth. And until then, peace, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.